I will never forget the first day of my freshman year of high school. Why? Because Taylor Swift was there and did this incredible welcome back to school concert. Totally kidding. The reason why I'll never forget my first day of my freshman year was because I was the new kid. Have you ever been the new kid? It was so nerve-wracking and embarrassing. Everyone was kind of grouped off and I knew no one. In fact, for the first 4 days of school, I ate lunch all by myself. So awkward when your best friend is your lunch. And I didn't even have a cell phone yet, so I couldn't have a fake conversation or pretend like I was texting. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of funny now to think about it, but I remember the one thing I really needed in that moment was a friend, someone who knew me.
We all want at least one friend who really knows and understands us, don't we? Of course you do. You want to know there's at least one person who likes you, who can make you laugh, who smiles when they see you in the hallways at school. And it's even better when that person is your friend, even though they know all about that really lame hairstyle you had in 5th grade, or that time you face planted in public, or the year that you were super into that weird band that you're now totally embarrassed about. We all want at least one friend who knows everything about us and still likes us anyway.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I was in middle school, it felt like friendship was really difficult to find, especially when life was crazy and my friends and I were all changing so quickly. In middle school, it's hard to find friends who will really be there for you through thick and thin, who will have your back when life is hard and who will love you no matter what. It's hard, but it's usually not impossible. So how do we find friends like that?
Have you ever heard the old saying, if you want to have a friend, be a friend? I think there's something to that. Maybe if we want friends who truly know us and have our backs no matter what, we should try being that kind of friend to others. It's a little upside down from our usual way of doing things, isn't it? I mean, it's a lot easier to not put in the effort and instead to sit back and just wait for awesome friends to magically appear.
That's because being a great friend is kind of hard, even harder than finding a good friend. It takes time and effort, and it requires you to actually be nice and care about people. It would be way easier if getting friends was like getting new shoes. Getting new shoes is pretty easy. You find a store, you choose the exact shoes you want, and then you buy them. The shoes are perfect, they're exactly what you wanted, and they're yours. They'll do exactly what you say, like, hey shoes, go on my feet and stay there.
When you're looking for new shoes, your needs and desires are all that matter. If a pair doesn't fit, or they're not the right color, or they make your feet hurt a little, all you have to do is choose a different pair. But friends are a little more complicated. You just can't go get new friends like you can get new shoes.
If you think about friends the way you think about shoes, where you judge potential friends based solely on your needs, your desires, and what they can do for you, it's probably not going to work out very well. In fact, this attitude could actually destroy your opportunity to develop great friendships. Because if you want to find great friends, you can't treat people like you treat a pair of shoes.
Today we're starting a new series called UpsideDown, where we're going to learn some pretty important things from Jesus, like how to get great friends. But you know what's interesting? When we read about Jesus, we see over and over again that he's always seemed to have a completely different point of view on just about everything. It's like he took our normal ways of looking at the world and turned them all upside down, including the way we look at friendships.
Jesus knew a lot about friendship. He had a group of 12 close friends who were known as his disciples. They were the people Jesus spent most of his time with. Now, Jesus was obviously the leader of the group. So you might think that Jesus, as the leader, would have been perfectly okay with his disciples helping him and doing all the stuff for him all the time, right? I mean, I think I would have. But Jesus didn't do that. He actually saw his friends in what I think is a completely upside down kind of way.
Check out what Jesus did in a story we read about in John 13. First, let me give you a little context. In this story, Jesus was having dinner with his disciples, but to Jesus, it was no ordinary dinner. It was the last dinner he'd ever have with his friends before he was publicly executed. Jesus knew, but his disciples had no idea. I can't even imagine the anxiety and emotions Jesus must have felt knowing that he would soon be arrested, beaten, and put to death. If anyone needed some emotional support from their friends, it was Jesus. If anyone needed to feel like they had friends they could rely on, it was Jesus. But in Jesus' moment of greatest need, he did something pretty upside down.
The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. Can you imagine this scene? In a moment when Jesus needed and deserved the concern, attention, and comfort of his friends, he wrapped a towel around his waist, knelt down, and served his friends by washing their dirty, disgusting feet. And not only did he wash their nasty feet, he washed their feet knowing that in just a few hours, those very feet would run away and desert him when he needed them most. Wow, I don't know about you, but I don't think I would have done that. So often I'm too preoccupied with my own needs to think about doing something kind for others, even for my friends. But Jesus did it. He chose humility. He put other people first.
In that moment, Jesus demonstrated what true friendship looks like. At first glance, it seems a little upside down. It's natural to put ourselves first, to treat our friends like we treat a pair of shoes. But true friendship is about caring more that their needs are being met than you are that your needs are being met. It's about being focused on others, even when you want them to focus on you. It's about having their back, even when they don't have yours. And it's about loving them, even though you know they're not perfect, because that's true friendship. And maybe it seems like a strange way to live, but that's what following Jesus is like sometimes. He's called us to live so differently from the rest of the world that maybe it will sometimes seem like you're living upside down. And that's a good thing, because when you live upside down, you put other people first.
So how do you put your friends first? Number one, you pay attention. You put your friends first when you get to know who they really are, what they love, what they fear, what hurts them, or what makes them happy. Because when you pay more attention, I think you'll find new ways to be a better friend.
And number two, you show up. When your friends need support, be the first to call. When they're sad, feel that pain with them and remind them that you're there. When they're happy, celebrate with them. Show up and keep showing up.
I want you to think about your friends. Go ahead. I want you to picture them in your mind. What would it look like to have the kind of upside down attitude toward your friends that Jesus had toward his? Maybe you shouldn't try to wash your friends' feet, but what would it look like to serve them, to encourage them, to cheer them on, to have their back, and to choose to love them no matter what?
We all want to have great friends, but we don't get great friends by treating people like shoes. We get great friendships when we decide to be great friends, to lay down our pride and to care more for the needs of our friends than we do for ourselves. Because remember, when you live upside down, you put other people first.